Hi ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Share Your Grin. This is huge. I cannot even handle it, man. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, we finally have another of a game series that I think has always been undersold. It's one of the funnest co-op series in games, period. It's one of the best conquest games ever. It's fun, it's lighthearted. I'm so excited, and of course you can read the title so you know what I'm talking about, but we have a brand new Saints Row game. It feels really weird to get information not around E3. I can't get over the fact that I'm unconditioned, and I feel unconditioned by this whole weirdness. But today we are going to be breaking down and looking into what the hell Saints Row is. Not Saints Row 5, Saints Row subtext, whatever random nonsense they're gonna interject in it. But some quick background from me. I love the Saints Row series. It's always been my preferred kind of thing. I fell in love with how amazing Saints Row 2 was, especially with like the coolness of like the roughness and like the brutalness of everything, and like also the lightheartedness. It was like a little more grimace, but also more grounded. But also still had its kind of like lighthearted, fuck it kind of charm, which is really cool. And also was one of the few games at its time that had this conquest kind of gameplay that was awesome. But like you look back at your journey and you're like, holy shit, I own everything. And it's all been effort over time that I can say that, which is a lovely feeling. Regardless, we'll get into all the other stuff later on, but just know that I'm a big fan. And also, I know this is where some Saints Row fans depart. I loved Saints Row the 3rd, and I loved the other games. I thought they were just fun and goofy, and we'll talk about what they may have been addressing in the not Saints Row 2 like styles within the sequels. But let's get into the reacting aspect to Saints Row, the trailer. I might have breezed by this beforehand just because I can't help it, man. Anyway, it took a lot to set up everything. I can't handle it. Anyway, I've been waiting for this game forever. Anyways, bah! Hit me. Let's go. Also, here's hoping. I'll try to I'll try to talk through it. I'll probably also lower the audio just so we're not we're getting copyright wrecked in here, all right? But we got all of these cool scenery, so it looks like we're not in like city landscape, we're in like desert lands. I still hope there's structures. Also, this is where things start getting a little jacked up. Because we don't get our cast. We don't get Johnny Gat and all of that. At first I was like, wait, is this like another like generation like in on the weird planet that we conquered after everything? Probably not, I don't know. Also, yeah, there's a lot of like subtext. Also, people are saying that no, we'll get into it. But
can we do this?
We can't afford not to.
It looks pretty goddamn crisp.
Yeah, let's do it.
I know people aren't a fan of the art style, but I've always thought it was fine. I will say that's the little helmet is a little too much of Fortnite for me. But I will say the other thing, the badass thing you're about to see is peak.
Hey guys, what you got in the... Oh, stolen Marshall MDI.
Also, I love like the Johnny Gat energy with this dude. It seems awesome. He's just like, I could die at any moment, and that's fine. Just, well, actually, maybe not. Well, Johnny Gat was an unkillable god, more or less, but still. Why didn't he fire? Oh, right, because he wants the bomb, so he wouldn't have shot on the car itself, because he would have destroyed the payload. But this is the iconic shit right here, boys, which I wish they had more of this, because the first Saints Row, the 3rd trailer, had like an abundance of this level of crazy CGI shit, and then just fadoosh. I don't know, it does have a little bit of sauce, but I will say, the previous Saints Row the 3rd in trailers have just like throwing like a Hulk-like man throwing other Hulk-like men at each other, and like diving off of helicopters and shit, and yeah. But this whole scenery reminds me a lot of Saints Row 2, which with what we've been seeing, like Saints Row 3rd, the cinematic trailer was very goofy, anything was on the table. This stuff, it's still crazy, but it reminds me more of like the grounded nature to Saints Row 2. You know what I mean? Like we haven't been like diving into planes, you know, going a Mach 100. Now, yes, we've been flying out of buildings, but still, I think we would do shit like that in Saints Row 2 even. Anyways.
Kevin.
See, this is where I'm a little, like, I appreciate the grounding nature of it.
Asshole. Get the fuck away from my friends.
Okay. Yeah, but to me there was always this underlying subtext to Saints Row where like the boss was just a weird unkillable god. You know what I mean? Whereas it does seem like we just got our ass saved by our team. You know what I mean? So I wanted to talk that whole time. I tried to shut up, but also it's constant music, so hopefully there wasn't too many jump cuts in there. But again, I just don't want to get rickety wrecked. But yes, we are getting this February 2nd or 25th. It's the February 25th of the next year. So it's 2022 is when this is going to be coming out. So just take that note of that. But now, this is what I want to talk to you guys about. We'll look at comments, we'll look into if we can answer any questions, but for right now, let's go by freeze frame because this is what is exciting me. So, one of the things that I've been seeing quite a lot of, so they've been working on this game for a pretty good amount of time. I think about like maybe 2 or 3 years at this point. I think. Could be wrong on that. But regardless, they are saying, and this is in the description of this video, but they say this is the biggest Saints Row map they've ever made, the most ambitious, etc. Now, of course, big isn't always significantly better, at least in games. Density of content is also cool. The fact that, like, you know, it's not just a bunch of buildings that we cannot interact with, we can't do anything with, but instead have stories, layouts, and formats in which we can interact with. That is ideally better. But it does look like we've got a bunch of different kind of landscapes. So we got the kind of desert boonies. Then we got classic like Saints Row stuff here. It's like gross grubby city, back alley shit. But right here is when we started getting into like the towns. Which it started to seem like it seems like we're in like a weird Las Vegas kind of city, but again, this could just be one district of a larger whole. Yeah, see, very casino kind of vibes, which I don't know. I feel like they could have a lot of fun if they are in like Las Vegas, because there's desert, there's a shit ton of money, there's gambling, there's drugs, there's like Area 51 desert area kind of shit as well, which they could have fun with. I think this is a good playground to mess around with. But now let's start getting into some of the things that people are talking about. Of course, when you first seen this, they're like, what did they do to Johnny Gat? Don't do this. Do not make Johnny Gat look like a weird hipster guy. That was never what he was about. But seemingly that's not what this is. This is again, for those guys who are unaware, this is a reboot. Because more or less, Saints Row 4 as well as Gat Out of Hell kind of had conclusions. They were very much like endings of the stories of Saints Row. Now, one of the things that seemingly they talk about in this is that this is like the first... Like, this is how the Saints became the Saints. So this is like ground level 0 for them coming together, which is a bunch of weird punk kids getting after it and doing all that stuff. Which to me, I will say, that's the only thing which freaks me out, is because that premise, it's like, but wait, like, well, hopefully they realize what made Saints Row, and they've like doubled down on those things. But to me, this trailer does a little bit of a bad job about like giving off we're just babies, we're kids playing in a playground, not like we're saints conquering each district and somehow alive because we have this most dense plot armor, and we're not even hiding the fact that we have this plot armor ever, which I thought was always charming about Saints Row. It's just an awesome power fantasy where you're just the boss, you know? But this one does kind of seem like we're still like kids trying to like conquer the whole place. But with that being said, there are still moments of grandeur where we're just, again, having that unkillable god plot armor, which seems pretty sick. But yes, that also is a criticism that I've been hearing levied against this whole trailer, is the fact that these aren't our characters. These aren't Johnny Gats. Why the hell would you build up these characters for such a long time only to have them be rebooted? It would make sense. Like, this is, to me, the way I wish they would have went with it, and they might. That's the thing. They might have done this if the pretext isn't true. But to me, I was always hoping that a Saints Row sequel would take place on a planet looking almost identical to Earth, but basically like 100 or 50 years after. So the generation, like this guy, I was hoping this guy would be like Johnny Gat's descendant. Where like you know, and of course Johnny Gat rolling over in his grave, he's wearing, you know, neon, all that stuff. But anyways, and, you know, this could be Pierce's son, so it's like everyone's generational child, like taking the torch and going forward. Now, necessarily, that's not off the table, although if their subtext is this is where the Saints started, then sure, although it doesn't necessarily have to be wrong, because the Saints could have died out after repopulating the new planet, and this could be, you know, their kids doing the same that they did, like redominating a city, you know. But I don't know. I don't think that's probably going to be the case. I think it's just like, hey, here's some lovable characters that are kind of in the same subtext. Like, this seems very much like Pierce as a baby. Like, everything here seems like everyone as a baby, as a young kiddo, teenager who's just getting after it. This seems like a Johnny Gat who's ashamed of the choices he made. Shirtless and run around with neon. Okay? Yeah. But also, this seems like Pierce as a child. Which, again, if the whole thing was like, hey, these are like, this is the descendant of the boss, and that's why you're an unkillable god. Here's the descendant of Johnny Gat, which is why you're a fucking raving lunatic who is also weirdly an unkillable god, except more of like a god of war, but still. And Pierce is just like kind of a good at improvising, and then we also got, what do you call it, that this other lady may be the descendant of Shandi. I was forgetting her name. So when I seen this trailer, I was like, oh, is that what they're doing? And then I scrolled down, and I seen that they say this. In a world rife with crime, where lawless factions fight for power, a group of young friends embark on their own criminal venture as they rise to the top in their bid to become self-made. Again, this could be pretty interesting. Like, I feel like the story could be badass if they were that. If you found out, like, maybe at the halfway point that your dad or your great-great-grandpa was the original boss who colonized this planet. and yeah, you have his stupid god-level blood or just plot armor blood running through your veins would be so sick, and somehow their children or their ancestors culminated would be sick. But if it literally is just like, hey, this is where the Saints started, I don't know, because that would be kind of a little bit less fun to me, because we know where the Saints were in Saints Row 2, so a lot of shit must have went really bad. But also, it seems like they have weird, like, I don't think this technology would have existed. Well, maybe, but I don't know. Like, it doesn't seem like it's a particularly dystopian to really, really 80s kind of vibe. So to me, I think my weird theory about it being like, it's titled as a prequel, but it might also be like, well, no, but we didn't lie to you, because it is like the rebirth of the Saints. Although I feel like the boss would have been hell-bent on making everything Saints Row in the new planet Saints Row. But who knows, maybe some weird shit happened. Ugh. We're getting into nonsense land, forgive me, I'm just really excited. But as far as some of the other criticisms that I've heard from the general thing, from Saints Row, people are saying that this is not what I wanted. In fact, if we go to the comments, pretty relentless. But before we get into the comments, actually, one of the things, and I've been a Saints Row fan for a long time, always watch the trailers. The cinematic trailers are amazing. You cannot tell me different. They are so sick. Anyway, and they're also pretty decently indicative of what you do in the game, okay? But there has always been an abundance of hatred towards Saints Row as a franchise. I think it's because it came out a similar time, right around a GTA, and everyone was just riding GTA's so goddamn hard to where everyone was just like, it's the best game ever, I love it so much. And then Saints Row was like, here, Saints Row 2, we got crazy customization. We're not trying to dip into the other GTA things, like, you know, mission structure, realistic reality, kind of more or less. We're just trying to show like actual gangster stuff, but actually have a fun, goofy time with it because it's a video game. But we're gonna amplify the customization. We're gonna give you guys cheats. We're gonna give you guys cars and all of these other things to level up and invest in, and like progress in. And that to me was, in Saints Row 2, it distinguished itself very, very different from, of course, GTA. But still, people still compared to the two and said, well, yeah, well, this one's better than that one, or this one's just a clone of GTA, or Saints Row is just a clone of GTA. I've heard this shit always, and there's always been like an abnormal amount of hatred, it seems like, for Saints Row. But then, I think Saints Row really took that, or THQ, or Volition, sorry, Volition, I think, really took that to heart to some extent, and they made Saints Row 3. They changed the art style. They changed it so that it was nowhere close to a realistic-ish gangster kind of vibe. It was just goofy fun, basically turned into a Conquer game, which I honestly enjoyed still, because it still had that fundamental. Now, yes, a lot of people miss the grounded nature to Saints Row 2, but I think a lot of people were pleasantly surprised with how absolutely batshit and goofy and fun Saints Row 2 was. If people's criticism was constantly that this is a GTA clone, I think Volition was like, okay, we will make it in every way outside of messing with core gameplay schematics like customization being a header, as well as like the boss being the boss. Then we'll leverage every other thing to be not that. And alas, we have Saints Row the 3rd and the 4th and Get Out of Hell, all of those things. But then a lot of people were also pissed that this is not what they wanted from Saints Row. This is not what they fell in love with 1 and 2. But I also think, like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Either people are going to be upset that it's raw, kind of grounded-ish gangster stuff, which is or mafia stuff, which is going to dip into other franchises, and they're going to say they're ripping that off, or they could try to come up with their own iconic, unique style. And funny thing is, man, I keep seeing people say that, like, Saints Row has a Fortnite art style. Motherfucking Saints Row 3 came out way before Fortnite, you psychos. What are you talking about? Fortnite took Saints Row's fucking thing. Jesus Christ, guys. Man. Anywho. But also, yeah, to me it's like, if I don't mind this art style, it looks crisp, and if it allows them to have like cool physics and stuff like that, then awesome. I do think, but also Saints Row has always been a game where you can customize the ever-living shit out of your character. So if you want to be a weird, like, cyberpunk whatever, you can. If you want to be a dude in a tuxedo looking fly as fuck, you also can. If you want to be a dude in a hoodie, you can. And I doubt with every fiber of my being that they're gonna...
Sorry, messed up my words. I doubt they're gonna not give us crazy customization, which there's confirmation in a little bit when we get to their newsletter. So yes, be patient, my friends.
Oh, actually, the comments have gotten slightly improved. If Netflix started a gang, this would be what it would look like. I agree. It makes sense. They're a little like, little hipstery, little out there. These Saints are the... But that's also the thing which I feel like they could capitalize on. Because one of the best parts about Saints Row, at least character-wise, is they were like unapologetically them. Like, people hated Pierce, but people also loved Pierce because Pierce was just Pierce. Johnny Gat was always just Johnny Gat, even though he was, to some cases, not a good guy. Like, really bad. In fact, awful. Like, a mass-killing murderer, but he was our mass-killing murderer. I know, which is fucked up, but it's just to say the power of, like, standing by who you are and your buddies having your back, and, of course, in a chaotic world, that is incredibly valuable. These Saints are the people, the Saints, the real Saints Rows with... Okay, this is fair. But also, my guys, you can dress up your Saint to looking like a badass. Unless they don't give customization, which, again, I would guarantee that doesn't happen. In fact, I think I've seen a developer discussion about it, and they were totally not revamping the series in that way. Yeah, but this is also what people are saying. I've been waiting for 6 to 7 years now. Is this really what I get for being a loyal fan? An art style shooter that appears to have cut out most adult content that the series is known for? My guy, it's a fucking almost a 4-minute trailer. Let's relax. Holy shit. Oh, the desert setting. That hasn't been done to death recently. Well, they don't know that. Like you said, they're waiting for fucking 6 years. They don't know that. Also, yes, that makes complete sense. We went to New York, kind of a suburban kind of area, so why would we not go to like a casino-like palace? That makes more sense, especially with how rife with crime that actually would be, and with all the cool weirdness that they could potentially add. Like Aliens is what I think of, like desert, Area 51, weird shit, yeah. Although they have done Aliens, but like, ugh. I genuinely believe that my favorite sandbox franchise was going to be given new life. Instead, they've decided to put a bullet in it. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god, guys. You haven't even seen gameplay. This is the worst. This is just the same as people who have seen Watch Dogs, the gameplay trailer, the quote-unquote gameplay trailer, and they're like, this is gonna be the best game of my life, despite it says, subject change, idiot. Don't fucking count for this being the actual reality, you psycho. Okay, maybe not Watch Dogs. First Watch Dogs, I don't think had that in there. But this is literally just a goofy gameplay trailer to say, hey, this exists. You haven't seen gameplay yet. You don't know if they're going to be just as raunchy and brutal beforehand. If they're not, then yeah, I think that's going to be a knock on the series' charm. The charm of Saints Row was that it honestly didn't give a fuck. It just kind of it was unapologetically what it was, which I thought was very, very fun. And that's what their characters were. So hopefully that's still present within the Saints Row series, which I think it will be. I think those are like the cornerstones of the Saints Row series in a whole. One of them is the boss, essentially meaning a conquest game. You're the boss, there's another boss, beat the boss, get their power, level up, and ascend. Ascension is basically the best way I could describe one of the core pillars of Saints Row. The other thing is customization, of course. The other thing is the I don't give a fuck nature to just about everything. If you look back at any game, that's the subtext of the entire story, which is awesome. And yeah, this is something I will agree with, though. I'm sorry, but this isn't what anyone asked for. I could agree with that. I know. Okay, so here's the thing. If I were to synopsize a lot of this shit, it's a lot of people saying like it looks like Fortnite, and so it looks shitty. Despite this is what always the Saints Row series look like, anyways. This weird shell shaded, kind of weird cartoony colorized thing, so we can get away with vicious stabbing, shooting, murdering because it looks cartoony. So otherwise it would get absolutely railed by the rating system anyways. But yeah, a lot of the criticism seems like this is not Saints Row, or not the Saints Row art style that I want, or this is not the Saints Row that I wanted. And if you look into that question more, it's people saying this is not Saints Row 2. We wanted real gangster shit, not like whatever this weird hipster shell-shaded nonsense kind of thing is. Just like that's what it's kind of been. That's what it's been for the last couple sequels, which people have largely loved, especially after the weird hate boner for this game is left. Which again, volitions on two sides. One of them is hearing, you look like a GTA clone, so then they made a not GTA clone, but then the people who like the GTA clone were pissed that the GTA clone is not that. Yeah, I don't know what it is about people being like, I feel downright insulted. I'm like, guys, you haven't even seen the trailer yet, or like the actual gameplay yet. All we see is that it's basically in a Las Vegas Strip kind of setting, and that we still have the boss. We just don't have any of our other characters. Which again, to me, I'd be okay with if this was like a generational jump, and we seen this is the offspring of our beloved characters, and they have kind of the skeleton of all of them. I just hope that is grounded within that reality, and it's not like, yeah, it turns out the older generation, same people. And I'm like, that seems uninspired. That doesn't seem as cool. But it'd be really cool at some point to like look up at the moon and you see two moons and you're like, oh my god, it's the planet that we got to at Saints Row 4. And these are our shitty kids that suck and are annoying. But hey, I will say though, again, I kind of do trust Volition though, because like even Saints Row 2 had a great story, different. Saints Row the 3rd, I love the story of that. Saints Row 4, love the story of that too. I just hope they don't go into the, like, because again, there was something so special about Saints Row in the I don't give a fuck, but I do, A, stand by my friends in a weird way, and 2, still like weirdly do good, but it's my version of good. You know what I mean? Which is kind of awesome. It's like a trial by force almost, where it's just like, if you're the leader, I want to be the leader. I'm going to do better than you. And they actually did. And also, I'm going to have a great time doing it. And it's going to look hella purple as well while I'm doing it. But alas, there is one more criticism that I've heard, which I think is the most fair for Saints Row in all of this. Let's play this while we're talking, so we're not just sitting in nothing land. This has been a criticism that I've heard for like such a long time, which I feel like is quite valid. Saints Row keeps losing its essence. So every single time there's a sequel, we lose content, and that's kind of the core thing of it. You can argue whether you like the way the series went in more of a lighthearted, goofy, conquer kind of game, rather than like a grounded, you're fighting in gangster shit level dirt, and you're just kind of going that way. But largely, this seems like they're resetting to a large extent. But also, it just seems like people are like, yeah, but we didn't want to reset with the current generation of fucking hipsters and shit, which is funny. But anyways, yeah, the main criticism for Saints Row was always that Saints Row 2 had so much. It had crazy customization. It had amazing gun variety. The combat was also fun, although it was always annoying that you couldn't like aim and shit. Anyways. But it was a very, very, very fun game with a silly amount of customization and, wait for it, depth. where Saints Row the Third still kept a lot of that, which was one of the best parts about it. I love the fact that Saints Row, and I think everybody does, I love the fact that Saints Row isn't like this bullshit Far Cry experience where you basically can only ever become kind of slightly okay or strong. You know, it's always like you start off like a bitch and then you become a god. You become God, okay? And it's awesome. So for me, if Volition is watching this, I really hope that they continue to do things like that, where they because I loved that aspect of Saints Row the Third and 4 and even 2, but just the level of progression within so many things. Like the idea that like your weapons can ascend and they change and they become stronger and they visually change as well. I love that you could customize your cars and whatnot. I loved that you could become an unkillable bullet sponge if you were to grind out this side activity and do all of the side quests, so that there was a reason to actually collect the dumb minutia. Also, that was something that Saints Row did amazingly, is when you collected like the stupid collectibles, they would give you a crazy gun, a crazy skin. Saints Row is one of the best games that rewards its players for doing things that are a little out of the way, in a pretty vicious way, whether that be giving you an unkillable god or whatever, at least at the end of the game. Or like a brand new district. So I would love to see like greater weapon expansions, greater skills. And honestly, one of the things I was always hoping that Saints Row would eventually go down the route of is, if you are the boss, let you be the boss. I want to be able to call in like your squad and them fucking wreck shit constantly, and be able to level up each individual of my like call-in squad to make them a god as well. I would love that level of progression, so that when you're the boss, when you call in backup or when you call in whatever, you can amplify them by a lot and them to have their own progression. I think that would be perfect. Sorry about that, super off track. That was just basically me getting into the wish list that I have for this this game, Saints Row. But again, the criticism is that every Saints Row we're losing more. You know, like we never carry over things from the previous game. Like there were so many fun things in Saints Row 3 that kind of just weren't quite as existent in Saints Row 4, and vice versa with Gat Out of Hell. Like the flying mechanic in that system is so fun, and the fact that you can't get it in the sequel just feels like you're losing something that you beloved or fell in love with. But I feel like if they do the core fundamentals of Saints Row really well, which is that like constantly feeling good about the level of investment when you conquer an area or when you buy a shop, it's more than just seeing a bunch of purple dots around the map. Maybe you can customize it in a different way, or maybe the people react to you in a different way. You can control what they look like, your saints on the street, and adding greater depth in that sense. But ultimately, as far as like the combat goes, we had crazy like superpowers. I would love to see like combat centered around you being the boss, like basically having a summoning like style of combat, and being able to invest in making your characters like each one of your saints that you fancy, so your companions or whatever, being able to level them up and make them as insane as the boss as your underlings. I think that would be awesome in terms of gameplay, and would make it grounded but also satisfying within the fact that you have plenty to upgrade and plenty to invest in. Also, just because that's just kind of a cornerstone of the series, I would love if they also made it have greater depth with like companion missions, because that was one of the best parts about 4, is like the fan service to Johnny Gat people who like that, and to Chloe and to all of these people who survived. The other ones, not so much. but yeah, if they could give us the same kind of fan service as like, here's this badass character that's like Johnny Gat, you can do like 3 or 4 side quests with him, each giving him a cool new ability or a cool new weapon, or giving you something or other. That to me is like the hallmarks of Saints Row, is the fact that A, you are the boss, 2, you are going to conquer the world, and 3, it's lighthearted fun. But also, I wouldn't mind, I think a lot of us wouldn't mind, if they had a little bit more Saints Row 2 action there, where it was feeling like, as much as you don't give a fuck, there might be 1 or 2 moments where you should. You know what I mean? Where like Carlos died and it was like, okay, no, I'm gonna kill you in the worst way imaginable, because you take from me and I'm gonna take from you. But alas, ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited. This is one of the series that I love to pieces. Saints Row. Actually, before we end it, let me just look in to see if there's any sort of news on the thing. I do not think they'll not give us crazy customization. I do not think that if you do not like some of the character designs, I feel like they'll probably introduce a character that is for you. So if you don't like crazy weird Johnny Gat going through a hipster phase, or Pierce when he was in his nerdy phase, you could probably get a different kind of companion that probably is your vibe, you know? At least that's what I'd hope would be an evolution of the series in routes that they didn't already take, like making you an alien god. Experience the biggest and best Saints Row playground created by, yeah. So basically what they say here is that like we have a new city, or Santo Lasso, basically a vibrant fictional city in the heart of the America's Southwest, in a world rife with crime where lawless factions fight for power. To me, again, this doesn't quite throw up my theory of this is the generational gap between our old characters and the new characters. And if we found out at some point that this was the planet that we colonized at the end of 4, we would be like old as fuck though. So there'd be like, we'd be Generation X. We're just fucking, yeah. Okay, so yeah, we're still, same thing. We're still climbing our way to the top. That's honestly what like I desperately crave right now, is a game that's like a third-person game or a first-person game that's all about conquering a district, and no other game really does it. Unlike, there's maybe Ubisoft games, but don't even, shut up. Yeah, I'm gonna accept the newsletter. I'll take the plunge on this one. Okay, so here's some screenshots we got, boys. We got this one. Okay, we got some dunes. It's kind of to be expected. Honestly, I don't mind the look of it. People talking about shitting on the art style. If it allows them to be more fucking chaotic and violent. See, it seems more like what we'll actually be looking at, which is, yeah, just like it looks the same as other Saints Row, except a little more sharp. That's about it. Seals has the same bullshit, and it's either customization galore. We're not playing the same pretext character, I don't think. Yes, yeah, but see, yeah, okay, yeah, I call bullshit. Yeah, bullshit. We're playing the next generation. I guarantee that shit. You cannot tell me this is a game taken in the past when these motherfuckers are driving like hover bikes. Bullshit. This is a future game. This is our generation. I'm calling it. I'm calling it. This may be a reboot, but it's still the kids, most likely. If they do some shit where this is not the kids of Pierce and fucking Johnny Gat, I'm gonna be pissed. Now, yes, maybe Johnny Gat's rolling over his grave because his kids are a fucking hipster, but that doesn't matter. I'm sure Johnny Gat went through a bad phase as well. Anyways, boom. Yeah, just put a fucking shirt on, mighty guy. But anyways, I'm not sure if this guy is a new person. No. This I think is your playable character. Yeah. It seems like, oh no, because she was in the quest. I think this is your playable character actually. Makes sense because you're the boss. Although I will say Pierce looks like a rough. Pierce looks rough. I'll be honest. Or Pierce's kid. Again, that's at least where I'm going with. I'm probably way off, but at least, you know, something. That's what my mind goes to, at least. We have our target locked on the brand new city, St. Lasso, a melting pot of big city business and the darkest alleys, street crimes. The perfect place to start a new criminal enterprise and the biggest and the best playground we have ever created. The law in the city. Never heard of her. You don't become self-made by following laws. I really don't like the whole, oh my god, it kind of hit me. Is this them talking about hustle culture and like self-made bullshit? That's not. No, the Saints Row's meme on the fucking nonsense. They don't become the nonsense. All right, comments. I'm starting to feel your fear a little bit with this one. I just hate hearing self-made shit. I was like, why does that sound familiar? And why do their looks just, oh, they're fucking hustle culture. I hate it. Saints Row, yes, participated in the monolith, but they made it their own. And they fully were honest about how fucking brutal they were fucking over people by them buying shitty energy drinks. Anyways. Well, if you do, it sounds super boring, so we'll do it our way, thanks. The city offers a range of criminal ventures to further your interests and make some sweet cash to boot. Rent doesn't pay itself. It feels more grounded by if by grounded they're doing like what is quote unquote criminal / gangster shit in 2020, 21 or something like that. That's like hacking and like, and even Saints Row the Third made it fun. But yeah, mostly but also the main guy was not a hacker. He was just like, what the fuck is this nerd shit? Anyway, you play as whoever you want in your journey from newbie to boss. Okay, so that's good. So it's still 0 to hero, but also, again, you play as whoever you want. So I don't think they're going to be saying you can't customize your shit. Kicking ass and fighting. Well, not crime, obviously. We'll talk more about our most extensive character creator. Okay, guys, here's confirmation, all right? We'll talk more about our most extensive character creator ever in time, okay? People talking nonsense saying that they're not gonna hold true to the cornerstones of Saints Row, it's impossibly silly. They just confirmed there's a character creator. It's our most extensive one yet. Cool it, okay? But it wouldn't be a Saints Row game if you couldn't customize, if you couldn't roleplay a range of roles. That's a way to say it. Bank manager to green skin zombie alien monster. Wouldn't it? Wherever you are in the spectrum, you do you, or not. We're here for it. Plus, here we go. As is the custom, we have seamless, uttered co-op. So you can hang out with your friends. You can create Saints Row moments together. Friendship really is magic. Yeah. So yeah, again, people are worried. Will co-op still be there? Yes. Will the customization still be there? Yes. So if you don't like these fucking hipster-looking people, you can just change it. I don't think that's gonna be a problem. The story's always written in a way that your character is clever, but not like a hipster himself, or if he is, he'll eat both sides basically. He'll like shit. He'll be a hipster, but then also shit on himself for being a hipster. Just so it attacks, so everyone can basically feel comfortable in the suit that they're playing. Anyway. Oh no, I was correct. Okay, so yeah, my whole theory is just lessened. They could do a 180, but here we go. Check out the features list. Witness the birth of the Saints. Play through an action blockbuster origin story full of criminal enterprise scenes and how the fuck are they getting hover bikes and shit then, man? Because the Saints Row 2 did not have that. Or if it did, it was, even then it was, what? I'm lost. This is the birth of the Saints? I don't know, that doesn't check out to me. I like my thought of like this is our generation of children, which might still be the case. They may be trying to misdirect us, but Sag. This Santo Lasso is spread across 9 unique districts surrounding by a vast, majestic beauty of the Southwest desert. Nice. Here we go. Build your criminal enterprise, take over a city block by block, wage war against enemy factions, and take your grip on the city. Ignatius Criminal Ventures. Cool. So classic Saints Row gameplay. Fire guns, lots of guns. Shoot revolvers from the hip. Fire and forget with a rocket launcher, or obtain up close melee weapons of high weight. Okay, so yeah, there's still melee weapons, all that stuff is back. And a vast variety of familiar and exotic weapons, all customizable, all deadly fun. Okay, good. So we still got our weapon customizations, so we got a lot of customizations still. Seems like they're still holding true to the core fundamentals of Saints Row stuff, like we've seen in the 3rd and 4, which is good. Also, a little bit in, actually not really in Saints Row 2. Take to the streets and the skies. Blast through urban and desert environments in any other car, bike, plane, helicopter, volt, hoverbike, hoverboard, go-kart. Or how is this the origin of the Saints Row series? If there's fucking hover bikes and shit, and like hoverboards, you might get me on the hover bikes, but the hoverboards, you start losing me. I feel like this. I don't know. I just feel like it's weird. Maybe like the Saints Rows died off, and now they're like reclaiming their ground. Maybe, I don't know. Wait, what? Unpredicted customization. Create the boss of your dreams with the most extensive character customization suit ever seen in the series when completing the look with incredible options for weapons and vehicles. Nice. Okay, so there's weapons, vehicles, everything customization-wise is still in the game. Awesome. Seamless co-op, experience co-op, yes, co-op, you can play with your friends. Okay, so yeah, people in the comments were losing their minds. Everything seems to be here as far as, you can customize your character, so if you don't want your character to look like any of these people, you can be fine with. You can also get, your guns are customizable, there's new weapons. I will say I'm confused on the Witness the Birth of the Saints, and then there's fucking hover bikes. That's a big, like, I'm lost. I don't really get how that makes sense. Just because I don't, in Saints Row 2, are they just retconning Saints Row 2? Like it never existed? That's not to make sense because Saints Row 3 refers to Saints Row 2. So, again, my thought is that maybe this is their cheeky way of being like, well, yeah, this is technically a reboot. So this is the Saints coming back from the dead after colonizing this new planet and many generations after they're dead. And these are the descendants of them, right as rain, connected again, ready to conquer together, maybe. That would be a cooler story to me than here's some random preteens fucking shit up. If it was our preteens, then I would be slightly less upset about it. But ladies and gentlemen, that was Saints Row. A lot of information. I probably cut a lot of stuff out there, so if I seem a little scattered, it's because I'm so excited, but also I wanted to address some of the comments that I've been seeing, and also explain why people are a little annoyed. It's because the whole premise of Saints Row is very beholden to a lot of people's hearts, because believe it or not, people who really like this game had to put up with a lot of people shitting on this game and being like, you fucking idiots. So when they see it deviate a little bit, I'm sure they're a little concerned. But alas, I think more or less we'll be okay. I do think we should wait at least until we see gameplay before we start, kicking and screaming. If they start saying "gee willikers" instead of "fucking bitch," then maybe it's time to be a little annoyed. But let's wait until that happens. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you guys do enjoy the rest of your day. Subscribe button over there to my right. 2 videos further that way as well. Thank you again, and goodbye.